I'm now once again confronted with the whole idea of like, how do you sell that? Riley Gaines was up in Portland, I guess, and in Seattle, up at the universities there. And I gotta thank all these people who keep doing this. MAGA sells itself. None of you get this. Like, when we have weird fake space things with like models in space, we're exposing to the youth the hilarious show Buck Rogers, where there's like disco in space and stuff, which we think is hilarious. Now somebody might be like, oh, well, don't you know disco and skating and skate disco? Don't you know what that is? And, well, we don't care. It was entertaining. And it seems to be something that a lot of the left of center culturally wants to forget ever existed. So we win. The reintroduction of forgotten kind of dad music. It's the stuff Dad used to listen to before, he met Mom. Or, oh, when I met your mom, I used to listen to this band all the time. Because now, most music almost, it's very small. You get this very, very small choice of the various eras of time that, of like, oh, this was the cool music of the 60s and 70s, And then you find out from people who are into that era of time, oh no, that actually, in fact, you rarely hear the really good stuff of that era. Or that genre. That it's been cut down because you see somebody has rights to that song, and so nobody's allowed to play it, so everyone forgets that Polly Niles ever existed. And that's a shame. So we had to expose a lot of this stuff that used to exist in the culture that was really cool, and let the youngs decide what they were going to hold on to and what they were going to let go. And it's really fascinating to see now and then what is clearly somebody who is, there's just no way they could have ever encountered this artist, like, kind of organically. This had to be something that just they stumbled on the internet, or they just liked it, or and that you're fascinated with what people will do with YouTube, video editing, stuff like that. Photos, all these photos that you can now get on the internet. Soon now you're seeing it with AI. People doing whole genres of stuff, whole albums of groups that never existed. The right can adapt to this. And this is the thing that I was hitting me. People started telling me already. I've encountered this personally. Now people are telling me, no, this is normal across the internet. The art people of the internet, who are always in these forums being artsy and saying the things that you expect them to say, they hate AI in a way that you don't really understand. When people who get AI art and stuff, and really what's being done there, what's actually happening, what is this tool, what is this thing you're using, that's the AI, well, they were telling me, they're like, no, really, these people are spooked by it so bad, they just don't get what they could use it for. It'd make their life a lot easier. And I've been thinking about this a lot because I've been watching especially AI psychedelic graphics. I'm into kind of strange old genres, so people will make these songs that are clearly not real. But some of them, the album art, everything's done so spot on that you're just amazed at the quality. So right there is a part of the culture I barely understand, am starting to see, and already something that is, there's people who are adapting to it, and they are going to end up probably being considered right of center now, because there's just these weird divisions that have been established by the left primarily. This no longer is okay, and in fact it is Putlarini. It is, the worst thing ever, next to, the most fascist Nazism that has ever Nazi'd the fascism. And so, okay, this is a long just piece of, somebody just spray painted this huge line. That's so weird. There's this line I'm seeing on the concrete that goes over this huge breadth of area. And I'm not really sure if it's supposed to be tracing the waterway here, but that's under the concrete, but I don't know. Anyway, because that's one of those things where that's curious, and then I was like, oh, now I'm blocks away, and it reappears. Even more curious. Curiouser and curiouser. Or is it more curious? Forget, my grammar is terrible. On this channel, we are all sticklers for proper grammar. So that's something I'm seeing in the culture solidly, that is burgeoning, and is this coming thing. It's this thing that's just arriving, just landing, and it's outpacing the cultural part of the left. Now, there's going to be, the left is, the people who are left of center are going to use AI immensely and powerfully and amazingly in art as well. There's just no way around that. But at first, there's going to be that which kind of, especially, I would say actually the better way of putting it for the culture is Chud adjacent. There we go. Because we're having so many Chud victories. See, this would be Chud adjacent. So you'll have Chud adjacent indie games. And these Chud adjacent indie games, they'll always be associated with us Chuds. and it's okay. It'll be because of course there'll be people who eventually be like, no, we want this for the Chud market. And then there'll be the Chud market, there'll be the Gooner market, which is Chud adjacent, Coomers, there'll be the Gooners and Coomers, a Chud adjacent market, the things like that, like old neats, OG neats, og neats, I guess people are saying there won't be neats again, or neats are permanently changing in some way. I forget. I'd have to look that video up. I might not have time. So many videos to look at, right? Not enough time. Got to read more. Keep the brain strong. Showing up, wearing masks, obviously, repeatedly menacing, physically intimidating, chasing people, especially like making it clear you'll do violence, like you're a male who will do violence to a female who's far smaller than you. That this is a very normal thing, very normal for the left, for Antifa. So at these protests, going after old people. The only error right now that Trump is really making is that he's not utterly crushing these people and smashing them into the fucking ground face first. Because that's what everyone wants. We want Thunderdome. The young want Thunderdome. And a lot of us want Thunderdome. But this is, of course, where it's Trumpzilla. And he has just, an army of the some kind of police from Fallout. And they smash the shit out of him. Everybody gets this now. These people should be under arrest. All these people should be getting geofenced. Their SD card should be getting read. Their digital footprints, everybody they've ever known should be getting pulled in. Antifa should be treated like something like Hezbollah in our own country. We've done far worse to almost totally non-existent groups of people on the right. That we've pretty much done the thing that is really that black people warned people about in a way. They'll create a gang. They'll invent a gang that doesn't exist and say you're in it. And so, and now what was interesting is how the right ended up kind of embracing that. Embracing like, oh yeah, that's it. Yeah, we're the Boogaloo Boys. That's what we are. Yeah, that's it. And it was great. It was hilarious. They took it on totally a different approach. And so now the left has to sell that the way that they get what they want is a whole bunch of them show up and intimidate people and damage property. And that's a key one, is that not only is it the damaging of property, but then this constant thing of, oh, but it's only property. And what we're doing is this incredibly important service for humanity. Constantly the claim. You see, what we're doing is we're totally hella amazing, and you don't understand our cause and how many. And then they claim that they're saving people's lives. That's all they have to do is say that they're saving people's lives. And the Northwest is paralyzed by these people. Paralyzed. The minute Antifa just decides to start blocking freeways, in the Northwest, you'll see everybody with authority will be on hands and knees, forehead to the ground, doing like Om, poo-poo guru, to the Antifa lunatards. Oh, please allow us to drive on the roads, please, and it's because of an actual part of the culture that is yellow-bellied cowards. Now, the interesting part is the people are not like that, who are good, solid people. They're such good, solid people that they're like, well, obviously everybody's going to see that these loony tards need to be escorted away. But that never happens. Somebody should be doing something about this, but that never happens. And so it really has become this constant problem now of these yellow-bellied cowards having inordinate amount of say over kind of causing ruination all throughout the West Coast. And also it's the thing of people who were not solid people ending up out here. And that it's actually one of those parts of the evolutionary behavioralism part of it, the HBD part of it, that the right has been on top of the research, and we discuss this stuff, and we send each other recommendations for books on it and articles, and we'll have things we're posting on, say, our Discord. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Our Discord, super secret, top secret squirrel. And that we'll post information about this kind of stuff. Oh yeah, and guys, soon I'm going to have the second rig set up so that literally I'm going to have this machine that is like that has the socials on, like the Discord is on, like it's up, necked off to one side, and then EVE Online off to the other. Like I almost got it totally set up, and then where the thing is, I don't have to really watch a lot of videos big style, so I'll have that on what I have to get the phone replaced because this phone is really old, really, really old. I think it's like 7 to 10 years old, some crazy. And so yeah, and have that all that rolling, all of it. I finally have caught up to like a decade ago, the technological level of people a decade ago. Aren't you proud of me? That's the plan. But yeah, so how you sell these guys showing up and pushing around women, because they do. We got it on video. We were able to sell that. We were able to say to people, you do know that you are going to vote to make this okay if you vote a certain way. And in this part of the country, a lot of people are okay with that. That as long as somebody says they're a communist with a Gucci bag, they're wearing some used women's shoes and wearing women's swag, that something terrible happened. That they could do whatever they want, and that now you're even starting to see there's if you have the moments where you run into seeing kind of the security people talk to the cops, and there's just not enough cops, and why would they hire on out here? But what could possibly so that they could just sit there and get sworn at, have to karate fight Antifa, have to Krav Maga Antifa. They have to, teach the Hamas Hezbollah people like Battle of Styles, Krav Maga verse, gay and fake, and and so that's the thing, is how do you sell that? You're even having now almost every major Democratic Party kind of like the strategists, the guys who get the votes in, they don't know what to do now, because they're like, how do we sell these guys who do this shit? What do we do to make it understood that somebody at some point is going to do something about this, but you're not. There's something very, very wrong right now in the Democratic Party because you embrace the left, and this is what the left is. They like violence, they like chaos. Or somehow they've taken it that it's the norm, that it's some kind of norm of things, without really getting like, no, this has never been normal. What are you talking about? This kind of behavior's never been accepted. Like, what? We used to give people shit for begging for change in Frisco if they were obviously rich kids from Marin. So it's like one of these things. Like, no, that it didn't go like that. Who told you the past went like that when people were alive to see the period of time you're talking about? We found this happens a lot. Real crazy stories about how things were, and it was like, it wasn't like that. Or young people insisting on, the oppression of the oppressed peoples during the oppression times. And it was like, well, but it wasn't really like that, though. We all kind of got along real well in the 90s and in the 2000s. I mean, you were alive to see that. Oh, I guess you were a child, so you don't know. And, people were still pretty much getting along real nice. And so anyway, now it's this thing of, well, so you're seeing the whole 70-30, 80-20 kind of thing going on. You keep ending up on the 30 side, 20 side, 10% side. Hamas is okay. Hezbollah is just freedom fighting. Men, should be able to pee next to my daughter, And so this isn't working for you at all. And you keep going 10 toes down more, and there's nobody now. This is the thing that also I was thinking about. The right has won in this regard because we said this would happen. In fact, health. Oh, I'm sorry. What would be salute to Piero San Giorgio. Piero San Giorgio of Switzerland. And he had a great speech at the National Policy Institute. And now they're right. And there's a whole bunch of people who are going to get the hackles up. The National Policy Institute. How could you? How dare you talk about that organization? Well, okay. Serious guitar playing man. And so. Okay, I don't care. I'm in no hurry. I'm chilling. So he had this speech called "The Center Cannot Hold," and it was there's a certain person this all goes back to. Center must hold, but he got into the center cannot hold. There's no way, and he started to map out how because of he did it as being that he was from Switzerland. He had to do a real quick explanation of why Switzerland is structured the way it is because of wars between different groups of people in Switzerland itself, and that they were willing to kill each other over religion and other things. And so what you end up getting then are the cantons, and it keeps things real well managed. And so he goes, well, so then, this eventually shapes the way that you have national and regional politics, and who aligns with whom. And he said, so the issue is that this is, of course, going to happen here. It already does. And he said, and all across the first world, as you get more and more people from the outside, that will insist on voting for parties that represent the outsiders. He said this will end up causing natural divisions to exacerbate that will be expressed through political parties, and when politics fails, then the inevitable violence begins, especially when you have populations of low IQ or Islamic populations as well tend to turn to violence with pretty consistent pattern for centuries. And so it ends up becoming this thing of the center cannot hold. There will not be anything that can make it not collapse. And then he started to cite, if I remember correctly, other countries, I believe Lebanon, possibly, that the center could not hold. And so this is just simply the way your party now cannot sell something that seems to unite people in any legitimate sense. It seems to be a party that now that it doesn't have any. Nobody remembers Buck Rogers on your side of it. Democrats now are the kinds of people who too often are people who they only have seen sequels 3 through 5 or 6. And that when you're trying to discuss some kind of movie and they bring up the 5th sequel and you're like, no. But that's a cultural division that, how do you leap that? There's not really a way to. But the right, you go to the first few albums, you go to the first movie, you go to the source, because everything comes from the source.